Stay tuned for urban legends to ghostly tales of the paranormal, because now it's time for
Message on the Wall.
Message on the Wall brings you haunted cemeteries in Ohio. We begin with Camp Chase Confederate Cemetery in Columbus, which is a place to put on the bucket list to visit for anyone interested in the Civil War era. 2,260 Confederate soldiers are interred here, but they all seem to rest in peace, for the ghost that wanders the cemetery is that of a female. It was on this land that a military training camp was established with the name Camp Jackson, but then with the Civil War it found another purpose, housing prisoners from the war, mainly those of a higher rank. It was at this time that it changed its name to Camp Chase, after Salmon P. Chase, Abraham Lincoln's Secretary of State. The cemetery was established in 1863, with 2 acres being set out to place and honour the fallen, one of these being Private Benjamin F. Allen, who served in the 50th Tennessee Regiment. Eventually, the wooden crosses were exchanged for stone markers, lasting out time, with Private Allen's being numbered 233. The ghost is known as the Grey Lady, with some believing that she is Louisiana Rainsburg Briggs, who in life would visit the graveyard placing flowers, and flowers are still said to mysteriously appear at the grave. And there are those who claim to have heard weeping by this same grave. Taking the 3 steps up to the gated entrance off Sullivan Avenue, the first thing visitors see is a large arched memorial. Camp Chase is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m, and anyone going on a ghost hunting adventure late at night without permission should be aware they are trespassing. Staying in Columbus, Green Lawn Cemetery, with Green Lawn Avenue running through the middle, is not only a cemetery but a park lovingly set out with trees and plants to attract butterflies and a variety of birds. The cemetery, that is still active, was established in 1848. The headstones are a virtual work of art, coming in the form of obelisks, angels, and engraved portraits. There are reputedly numerous spirits lingering within the 360 acres, and many of the mausoleums are said to be haunted, such as the Aidan and the Gay mausoleums. Nestling beside Walnut Street in Westerville is St. Paul's Lutheran Cemetery. To the west is Cubbage Road, often leading to it being called Cubbage Road Cemetery, even though there is no access to the cemetery from this road. Some graves date from the 1800s, with it still being an active cemetery, with its neatly trimmed lawns and white picket fence. If, as some believe, that water helps activate paranormal activity, then they wouldn't be surprised that the cemetery is thought to be haunted, sitting almost beside the Hoover Dam. In the trees to the back of the cemetery it's said that there was once a church, with its only remains now being the foundations. When the church was abandoned, it was taken over by those who dabbled in the black arts, making sacrifices of young children. Lights that have been seen in the trees and the cemetery are said to be the souls of those unfortunate children. Moving north to Delaware, there is a little-known cemetery that will require a good pair of walking shoes, though it may well be worth the visit. Those wishing to visit the cemetery will need to go to the Stratford Ecological Centre on Liberty Road, during opening hours that is, which are Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. local time. From there you take the trail through the wood that leads to the abandoned Cole-Stratford Cemetery, as that is where the trail ends. The cemetery was established in the 1700s, and so with time, and being left to become somewhat overgrown, some of the headstones have toppled, as to date the place hasn't been vandalised. Also in Delaware, the last Ohio cemetery on today's list is not open to the public and not worth taking the risk of sneaking onto the property, as not only is it private, but also belongs to the Ohio government, being used as a juvenile correctional facility. The large house that once stood off what is now Home Road was a holiday hotspot that attracted people from the south wanting to get away during the hot summer months. Of course, when the war began, people couldn't travel north and the place closed down, sitting empty until 1869, when the state took possession and turned it into a girls' industrial school. Ranging from 7 to 15 years old, orphans, the homeless and juvenile offenders were placed at the school from all over the state. And of course, there were outbreaks of disease that led to deaths, and so some of the girls never left, being buried within the grounds. There are over 40 markers, with all but 2 being state issue, giving the girls' first name, the date they died, and the age. Some of the buildings that were erected in the mid-1900s now no longer exist, and yet there has in the past been 911 calls made that have supposedly come from those buildings. Guards doing their rounds at the Scioto Correctional Facility have also heard children laughing and playing and singing nursery rhymes in the area of the graves. And so if you want to do a paranormal investigation on the site, you would definitely need permission. This has been Haunted Cemeteries in Ohio. You have been listening to Message on the Wall, brought to you in association with Paranormal Parodies. You can find Paranormal Parodies at paranormal-parodies.com.